hesitated to talk about what I thought wasn't fair. And I think during the finals a lot, I saw some things that just weren't fair, because you are my friend and I know that people know you're my friend, but I can't point out what's not fair. So I had my, someone who works with me, her dad was a NBA ref for about 25 years. I said, you watched the finals, give me your take on what happened. And she talked about how people were afraid to criticize what went down with one of the greats in Diana Taurasi. And
okay, can I make this statement before you finish
ahead.
your statement? I'm sorry, I just got to make this statement. In order for women's basketball, women's sports in general, to go to the next level, there has to be criticism. Like, if you turn on First Take, if you turn on just anything, like, they're debating on skill. They're debating on whether Russell Westbrook is a good fit for LA. They're debating on whether James Harden is going to be able to adjust to free throws. They're debating, I mean, they're talking about Richard Sherman. Like, they're talking about these things. And it's like, I don't know if it's our culture or what, but even within games, where I don't know if I would be a successful broadcaster of women's sports, because when somebody comes down and takes a terrible shot and doesn't do something within the offense, I'm not going to say, oh, well, you know, she's
but would you
got a good left hand
to
like
criticize?
No. But I think you cannot look at certain things within women's sports and I think our culture is scared to criticize because we're women of color, and because of cancel society, cancel culture. Like, that's what it is. But it's hurting the game and it's hurting the audience. Like, if I'm looking at a terrible game, terrible possessions, I mean, like, the way guys call it out on the NBA games. Like,
but listen, you know this, people hate Chuck. They watch and they be pissed when they got the TNT game. They mad because they like, if Chuck criticized me, I'm pissed. Chuck tells so many stories, you know this, about how players call him after and be mad at him, be ready to fight him, i.e. Draymond Green, who loves him now. You know what I mean? But
yeah. And so does KD. KD just did an interview with him. Exactly. It's a respect.
Want to be respected. I feel like I casually mentioned what happened with DT. And then there were other people who were hardcore players who were like, but the media really didn't say anything. It wasn't so much they didn't care. They felt like, God, do we talk about her shoving a ref? Like, not once, but twice? Do we talk about her literally disrespecting the ref again when they teeter and they trying to set the tone early? Do we talk about that? Because you guys just moments ago declared her the GOAT.
I think that if you would ask her, she would say the same thing I just said.
Criticize the game.
Criticize it. Like, critique it. And she's still going to do the same thing. I'm still going to behave and be the same way. Like, but you got to talk about it. Like, you talk about people falling in love with stories and storylines. But if you don't criticize it or challenge it, then nobody's talking about it. There's no debate. There's no barbershop talk and conversation. Like, none of that happens. And so it's like, I mean, I remember when Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant were going to play each other for the first time when KD ended up going to Golden State. Do you remember the storyline for the week and a half before that game? It wasn't even talking about the Golden State Warriors and Thunder. It was talking about, will Russell and KD shake hands? And then it was showing their skirmish. And then
no one cared about the game.
Nobody cared about the game.
Soft cupcake. Katie came out with a line of shoes. Like, yeah, no one cared. It was all about the stupid stuff. Go ahead.
It was all about that. So if our game wants to evolve and get to where we say we want to get to, then we got to have those conversations, and we got to have people that aren't scared. And we can't take it personal as players.
But you will take it personal as players, and that's okay, because I take it personal when people criticize me. But it's fair. What you're saying to me, what I'm hearing is that if you want people interested, and if you want to talk about a sport, and y'all want to be equal citizens, right? Make the same money, have the same advantages, we have to be able to do the same thing, the good, the bad, and the ugly, correct?
I agree with you. And I'd also add in that just women functioning in like not a smooth situation. Like, I still have to do an interview with whoever if I don't like them. You still have to interview me, even if you don't like me. Like, I think that those are things too. Like, that's why they don't criticize, is because like the next time I walk up and stick a mic in your face, you're going to be mad at me. And it's like, who cares? This is your job. This is my job. You got to criticize.
But God, let me tell you something. Y'all should be making it hard on us. Kevin Durant hated me for a long time and told me I was lost. I was like, oh, gotcha. Thank you. Draymond, they all, like, you say something flippant, they don't ever forget. They'll give you receipts. They remember when Dwight Howard, he was like, here, you talked so bad about me when I left the Lakers, and I never forget it. And I was just like, whoa, that was like 3 years ago. He had receipts. And so it's uncomfortable, but we still have to do it. I just want you to know,
but you still have to do it. And here's the thing. Now I'm on both sides.
Correct.
I'm a player.
That's where I was going next.
And I remember, you know, when I covered the NCAA tournament and a specific player didn't play as well in the NCAA tournament. And I was working out at a gym with him a year later, and his dad, he's like, yeah, my dad reminds me all the time of like, you know, me not being able to make a shot, or me, like, you criticizing my game. Like, that's been on repeat. Like, that motivates me to wake up. And I'm like, damn, if I have that impact, like, you're welcome. Like,
by the way, that's called 10%. That's what, okay, so I'll take that. Go ahead. Give me some of that check, sir. Go ahead.
And I'm just like, yeah, but also as media, here's the thing, as long as you don't make it personal, and that's the line that I think some shouldn't cross. But
it's hard not to make it personal. You're an artist. So Candace, what do people say about you? What's the biggest critique you hear about yourself that you try not to take personal, but you know it's somewhat accurate?
Of my game or of my personality? Because there's two different things. Because here's the thing. I don't think you should ever criticize something that you don't know. Like, for instance, like with the Ben Simmons situation, right? My whole issue with this whole thing is that it got outhouse. You have never heard me disclose any conversation that I've had with Derek Fisher to media, because it should stay in-house. It should stay between him and I. Now, we may talk about like, okay, this is how I felt, or like whatever, but I'm never going to come out and say something like Doc said or something like Joel said, and then the next year you want them back. And I understand it's a job, but at the end of the day, that should be kept in-house to me. Like, why are you, same example with Marcus Smart, and you can debate all the time. Why are you telling the media this about Jason Tatum and, you know, Jaylen Brown? Like, shouldn't that be a conversation that you keep in-house in the locker room? So I think my only issue is then when people, first of all, take things that out of house that shouldn't be. And second of all, make it personal and start criticizing character and like personality and stuff that doesn't have anything to do with basketball.